That's it. We're live. It's a poke along. It's all happening.
Fantastic. Okie dokie. So we're a couple of minutes early. Just check everything's working. Hopefully it is. It's looking good.
Yes.
Right then. So, who have we got? Now, all my little bits and pieces. I'll give everybody a minute. Hi, Deborah.
It's all happening.
Starting to get the fit people in. Fantastic. So, we give it a minute. Let everybody arrive. Hi, Nikki. Welcome, everybody, to our little bunny napkin ring poke along. So we'll make one of these little guys tonight, and you can make the rest as I want. I know we're having a couple of felty parties making these as well.
Oh, yes, it's a big bunny party.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Nessa, Camilla, Diane. Hi, Dan. Hope I'm not missing anybody. I'm just trying to see names as they're popping up on the screen. It's been so long since we had a poke along.
It was Christmas time the last one we did, wasn't it?
Well, I've been sitting in this seat making video all day for our colour theory for the Academy video. So this will be a nice little change from lots of bright colours that I've been using all day. Oh, lots of people in now. Hi, Caroline and Carol. Hi, Diane, Joanne, Janice. Fantastic. I hope I'm not missing any names as they go up the screen. But we'll give it a minute or two and then we'll get going. Because we've got a few bits to do on this one, actually.
There's a bit, isn't there? A bit of stuff to do.
But a bit of painting just so we can get ourselves really nice and messy.
Dillis, Suzanne's just joined.
Fantastic.
Lots
awesome. Good afternoon. Oh,
good evening.
Good evening, yeah. Hi, Dillis. Great to have you here for the first time. Fantastic. So, in a minute, we will go through all the materials that you're going to need, whether you've got a pack or if you're going to do it from your craft stash. And there was the paper template that we put on our page that you can print off as well. So, are we good? It is about...
It's bang on.
7:30.
Yeah, it's time
Fantastic.
To start.
Okay, so... basically, you've got everything. If you bought the materials pack, you've got everything you need to make 4 of the little bunnies. There's enough wool to make tons and tons, but there's 4 of the wooden napkin rings. And what we'll do is put a link to the napkin rings on our Facebook page after the event. I should have thought to do that earlier in the week. Would have been quite a good idea. So... very briefly, we've got some little gingham ribbons for his, or bows for his neck. We've got some pink sheet felt. There's the wool mix one, so as we can make his little ears and give them a bit of colour. What else is in there? We've got our napkin rings, white acrylic paint, and then this is the Cosmic Shimmer Sparkle Star Really Fine Glitter if you would like to have your napkin ring sparkly. We've got paintbrush, and then there's the test tube where you have 2 needles. So there's a fine and a medium needle, I believe, in there, is there?
Absolutely, yes.
So the pink one, they've got like different coloured tips. There's a pink tip and a green tip. So the green one is your 40, and your pink one is the 38, which is a bit chunkier.
And we will just go through the components in a little bit more detail as we use them, just so anybody working just from the stash alone can try and find the right sort of things.
Yeah. So that was actually the wrong test tube. I was wondering where the eyes had gone. So there are eyes in here as well, although Nick put lots of glass eyes in, and the samples I'd actually made just with wool, so you can do them either which way.
In the packs, you've got both. You've got black wool and eyes, and it'll work with either, so it's all good. So
just in addition to that, then, we sort of recommend that you have some Gorilla Gel super glue, just so as everything holds really quickly, but, you can leave it with something else to prop it up while it dries. Pair of scissors. We've put a paintbrush in your pack, and then I've got our pen tool with fine needles in it for doing the ears because they're really fine. But Vicky, you're going to do your, to quote unquote, your Motley Crue, you're going to do it tomorrow. Fantastic. And I quote unquote your Motley Crue.
We've got an echo.
That's a bit weird.
That was very strange.
Okay.
Oh, well, what can you do?
Moving swiftly onwards, hopefully that won't happen again. And I've got just my medium needle and a tapered awl so we can make holes for the eyes. Right then, so before we go any further, I'm going to get rid of all this stuff that I've sort of collected, and I'm going to break out some paint. So I'm going to try covering over my little workspace so we don't get everything absolutely covered.
We'll run through. I think we've said hello to most people. Please excuse us if we missed you out, but yeah, obviously you've done Vicky, Erica, who's on board.
Hi,
Paula,
Chris,
all sorts of people joining on. So hello everyone.
Now then, I am going to paint my little napkin ring. I wasn't going to do this and just sort of like do it after the event, but I think if you're going to want to stick it all together at the end, it doesn't take too long to do, really, does it? So I'm just going to go all around and hopefully not get myself completely covered.
Or your fabric background.
Yeah, fabric background's probably not the best.
Probably a good move here, although it doesn't really.
Yeah, it's white, isn't it? That's the problem. So just going to go all around, and then we're going to cover it in glitter, if you like glitter, obviously. So
some of us don't have a lot of choice in that matter.
No, what do you mean yourself?
Yeah.
Do you feel a little bit like glitter oppressed? It's resistance is futile.
Pretty much so. Yeah.
It's like, what is that? The Borg from Star Trek.
So this is just straightforward, straight out of the tube or pot acrylic paint, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm going to try and not get myself like totally covered, but I don't hold out very much hope. I could have like lots of white fingerprints everywhere.
Well, we always do the messy bit first. So
yeah. I mean, what I'd probably do is leave one edge sort of undone and you could come back to it. But and then the glitter, if you do choose to use it, it just tends to brighten it a little bit, doesn't it?
Do you mean there's choice in that?
Well, yeah. Not everybody likes glitter. I am aware of this, sort of. It's a vicious rumour, I believe, but you know.
Should record that and pass it back to you.
Right, all over. Right. Oops. I see some people have been very sensible and got these painted up in advance. We could have maybe said that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's better if people see you making a mess of yourself.
Well, yeah, just how to sort of do something badly.
I mean, I know you're a robot.
I feel a bit like it.
I am not a robot.
Well, you do have to seem to prove that increasingly every time you're on the internet these days. Oh, I'm going for full finger coverage. So, now then, get rid of the ridges. So if you've got paper to set it on, unlike me, where I've got my nice yellow and red fluff so I can get everything covered, I'm just going to put it on the white paper for now. Just as I can smooth it off. Ah, nice fingers. So, give it a bit of a smooth out. And then I'm just going to cover it in glitter. Have a messy paintbrush.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. Don't say I don't treat you. And I'm going to get a little bit of my glitter.
Well, what glitter is this?
This is...
People didn't know already.
Yeah, Cosmic Shimmer Sparkle Star. So you can just
Sparkle
like work
Star.
all around.
That's a silvery one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sparkle Star.
Yeah, it's got not too much colour in it. So you can just pop it out and roll it round. I've done mine in a bit of a messy, speedy way.
They've got other ones, haven't they? They've got, what is it, Grumpy Diana?
No, Frosty Dawn.
Frosty Dawn, I was close.
Which has got like a pinky sparkle to it. And Frosty Dawn, which has got a greeny sparkle to it. And Aurora Sparkle, which has got a pink tint to it.
You'd almost think somebody was putting you off there, wouldn't you?
You would.
You would. Okay.
Perish the thought.
So you just basically dabbed and dumped glitter all over it.
Yeah.
So your glitter trays are always good for this one.
It would have been the sensible thing for me to use.
But hey ho.
So hands covered completely. So excellent.
Thank you.
Well, Caroline's just agreeing with me that we'll have a bit of mess. So I've just covered Nick and glitter, wiping it off my hands, which is
that's great.
If looks could kill, right? You can have that, and I'm going to give you the sheet. Oh, look, you've made a mess. You put the paintbrush on the template sheet. So I'm going to put my glitter away for later. Why are you laughing at me?
You're not killing anyone.
Right then, so glitter everywhere. So nice.
Okay.
I am going to get some white wool to make the head. So on the template sheet, we've got the side view and the top view. So we're going to make a little egg that's going to taper towards the front, and then we can give it a little bit of shaping underneath just to make it a little bit more endearing, rather than it just being like totally egg-like. So we can shape it with your fingers like so. Now then, so I'm going to pull off. You have way more white wool than you need. You know what Nick's like when he's packing up kits. So don't worry.
People to run out.
Well, no. So don't worry if you've got if you feel a bit like you've got more left at the end of it than you started with. So
bunnies do tend to multiply.
Well, they do. You might need
somehow.
Lots. So I've got a little bit of my white wool, and basically just to get it started, I'm just going to fold it down on itself like so, quite tightly, but you can't hold the whole thing. So I'm just going to hold it towards the middle, and with my single needle, I'm just going to poke through, really just to stop it all unraveling. So I think I'm going to move this up. Forgotten to get my mat back. There we go, it's a bit better. So the next thing I'm going to do is just roll it round on itself to start to form the little head shape. So because I want the head broader at the back than at the front, I'm going to roll it over twice to start to form the bulky end of the back of the head, and poke that through with my medium needle. Okay, so I've rolled it twice, so I've got about 1/3 of the fibres left. So all I'm going to do with that is just turn it around on itself, and to start to make a cone shape, I'm just going to pull those fibres round the front like so. So I'm creating more of a cone at the front, so there's less wool there, and I'm going to poke that in. Ooh. So normally this is the stage where you say, can you undo that?
Can you do it again?
And do it again. So that's what I will do.
You did a little kind of shimmy, look up there, there's a plane kind of thing, and then you rolled it while everyone was looking for the plane.
Okay, I think you're on an even stranger planet than normal today, but hey ho, we're well used to that. So poke it through just to start to hold it. So you've got this sort of sausage shape. So now I've got the bulky part of the head in between my painted thumbs and fingers, and I'm just going to roll or wrap these out towards the front to make a little bit of a cone just at the front, like so. So, and I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to start to poke it.
Ah, I see.
So we want to poke this really nice and firmly, so as we can add detail to the head without everything just squishing around, because it's a really simple little bunny shape, isn't it? But you want to get it nice and firm, so you can use your messy fingers, yours probably a lot less messy than mine, across the top to keep the nice flat top to the head, and then we can start to shape it up underneath to nip it in to make them look a little bit more delicate. So you could be putting these on all sorts of napkin rings and things, couldn't you?
Oh yes.
I was in John Lewis the other day, and they had carrot napkin rings, which I thought would have looked really good if you could do some carrot ones as well to bulk them out. So you're just going to spend a bit of time poking it round. So you want to make sure you get a nice solid middle. So this is just the back of the head I'm poking in round. And then if we need to add more wool, we can. So just keep moving it round, poking it in, pulling all the fibres in towards the middle. So as we start to form the head, and it will shrink in as you're going along. Now, if you're feeling brave, you could go to a pen tool at this stage, because it does speed you up a lot, doesn't it?
Just watch your fingers.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend doing it on red felt like I am. I'm just doing it for contrast, obviously, for the video. But yeah, I need to keep my fingers on this, because, or not my fingers on it, I need to keep my eyes on my fingers. So start to pull it in all roads and directions. So pulling it in, helping you to make it really dense. So if it's going a bit squishy, what you probably find is that you haven't really gone right through with your needle. So you could even just, sorry, I've just elbowed Nick, just use a single needle if need be, because sometimes when they're in the holders, you can't get them in quite deep enough to be able to get
you need to go right through, don't you, with these, to bind the fibres right into the into the shape.
So every which way to get a solid little shape. And the back of the head, where we've got more fibres, tends to look a little bit flat, and sometimes it's got a bit of a curl, isn't it? Not a curl, like a swirl, like a sausage roll. So we can just start to poke in round the back of the head just to form it. So think what's sticking out, what's looking angular, and that's what I'm going to poke in to start to get it.
Just round off the blunter end of the little egg shape, yeah.
Yeah, so if you need to add more wool, you can do so quite easily, but bear in mind it will gather bulk now quite quickly because we're starting to get a nice solid base for it. And you can add fibre to the back of the head rather than just all over, so you don't end up with a big fat nose at the front as well. Looks a little bit daintier. So you can see here, this is turn it around this way. So I've got my finger across the top of his head. I want to be poking in to give it a nice little curve at the front. And then I'm just going to be focusing on the back. Now, if your head looks like it's sort of more suitable for going on a sort of something that's more the size of a kitchen roll than one of these little dainty napkin rings that we've got, you can just, once it's really firm, if there's too much wool that you just can't get it to sort of come down small enough, you can trim it or sculpt it with scissors. Sculpt it. Otherwise known as lobbing off, but lobbing off is out in the garden with cutters. Oh, hi Nini. I see Nini. So, right then, all the way round. Keep going. Takes a little while, but it's not the most exciting thing in the world. But we'll get there. So, nice and firm. Give it a squish. Manipulate it round. Push those needles right in.
We don't want any squidgy middles. Especially if you are going to put the glass eyes in. Because
it just collapses, doesn't it?
A rather invasive surgical procedure, inserting eyes later on. And if your head is squishy in the middle, you're going to end up with a wonky wabbit.
A wonky wabbit.
No, wabbit. A wonky wabbit.
So, poke. It's getting a bit skinny at the side, so give it another poke in. Drive those needles right through. Out. That was my
happen.
Thumb. No,
do we need the stunt felter in?
Yes, I think we do.
Yes, we'll get Travis come here.
It's because I'm trying to look under the camera because you can't do these from the laptop. You've got to do them on the mobile, so it's sort of suspended.
Well, you can do
above.
It, but you need a decoding gizmo and
yes,
other things.
Well, remember we didn't understand that the first time and trying to get them to go.
So you sure we don't need the stunt?
I like it, Christine. Oops, covered in glue and glitter already. It's got to be good. It's got to be done.
Hi, Lisa. Lisa's just joined us.
Oh, fantastic. So give it a good squish and follow it up. A bit of poking. Go down to my single needle now just so as I can pull that in, shape it all around to make your nice little egg shape with a slightly flattened top and curve at the base. Otherwise his nose looks a little bit flat if you...
So it's kind of egg shaped, but it's got a little turn up at the nose end, hasn't it?
Yeah.
As per the template.
And this little guy here you can see.
Yeah, a little turn up.
So I can put him there. We'll see his face.
So you can do the human cookie cutter thing where you put your fingers along the sides, as you've done indeed there. And that's all good. Just be sure not to get too many red blood spots on your little wabbit.
I nearly managed that a minute ago.
Yeah.
But so just take a little while to get a nice shape. So if you're watching this back after the event, you can just sort of fast forward through all this poking. You can buy little egg head shapes as well, can't you? Ready-made ones.
Oh yes. So this video will obviously stay on Facebook, so you can watch it again later. You can watch it from scratch, whatever. It will also we'll enter it in the Academy resources as well. So those of you that are members of that, you'll be able to see it there with the templates as well.
Yeah, so over the next few days, the new videos going to be appearing, isn't it, on there for our resources?
We are waiting for the British Board of Film Censors to give it a classification, XXX.
So not quite.
It's all the blood and gore,
but you do need to
stabbings and pokings.
You do need to edit out all my endless hours of colour blending.
Oh, the swearing. It's the swearing that gets me.
I didn't swear. Well, maybe a little bit, but not too much. Bring it in and around.
The single needle holder that you're using at the moment, Alison, it's a Clover one, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get those on Amazon.
I think so. Yes, we get them from Coleman's Craft Warehouse as well sometimes.
And there's lots of.
It just helps protect your fingers a little bit, because I find I react to the metal and the needles quite a lot. I always end up with sore fingers.
It's a nice short single holder. I mean, you can get obviously the much longer ones. I really like the short single needle holders because your finger is really close to the end of the business end of the needle. So
it protects it a little bit. Now that I've said that, you know what's going to happen, don't you?
We know. I've got the plasters ready. Don't worry.
I broke 3 or 4 needles the other day. We don't sell these, but I can put a link up to them, Erica.
Yeah, we'll put them on later.
They are comfy, and because they protect the shaft of the needle, you're less likely, I find, to break them.
There's a few other good single ones out there. The Prim felting needle tool with the needle set in the multi needles has a central bit where you can take one single part out and use it as a single needle holder. That's really good. Yeah,
because we looked at those at the weekend, didn't we? And Kathy has a few of them with different sized needles in them. But they're quite good. If you've got any grip issues with your hands, they're worth having a look at. And it was lurking around here somewhere.
Oh, not
I can see it.
Oh, right.
It's in the 1 second. They're slightly frightening because you've got so many needles, but this one's got 7. They're really comfy to hold.
But then the central part
push it out.
Undoes, so you've got a single holder in the middle.
Ta-da!
No. Yes, we have now.
Yes, yeah. So you can use it like that as well.
Yeah, which is good.
It's the only other tool I've really ever bought, other than the Clover ones, and I've had it for a while. I've never really used it. It was quite good, actually, especially for blending colours. I think probably as well because there's so many needles, but because it doesn't have the little guard on it like the green Clover stamper tool. Do you feel a little bit worried?
I like the reassurance of that little perspex guard, I must admit.
Well, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, it also actually holds your work down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It kind of coming back up with the needles when you retract the needles, which is quite good.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It sort of pushes it off, because that's the one thing I noticed with that Prim tool, especially when you're working on something flat. It's probably not such an issue when you're working on an actual creature or something, but for blending colours, it was tending to look up. So the big white one, the Prim one, Christine, I got it PRYM, and I got it on Amazon. So Nick, start making a list, and I can put some links up to these tools.
What kind of list am I making here, sorry?
For Prim tool links.
Oh yes, okay, gotcha.
And the Clover single needle link. Because it's funny you mentioned that, Christine, because I've still got that wooden handled one with the multi-tool, with the multi-needles you gave me years ago in it, which is really useful because you can get the needles in it straight. Maybe have a look at that later. Right, so now then. Oh, I see a few new faces we haven't seen for a while. Welcome everybody. Now, I'm starting to get my little head shape and just refine it in at the front. So it's the longest part of the make, really. So you just want to get a little bit of shaping going on.
Yeah, the white tool is excellent. It's really got a nice feel to it. It's got a really
ergonomically designed. That's my big word for the night. So, and then you can put it back together for us. Here you go.
Thank you.
You do need a degree in engineering to get your head around it the first time, but after that,
It's all good.
It is.
It's all good.
Okay. Now then. So. Right.
Yes, there we go. Kathy's on, who she's got a
Hey.
clutch of the pin holders. Yeah, they are good.
They are. So you can have a look at your head size. Obviously, you've got your template as well, but you can make them a little bit bigger, make them a little bit smaller, just depending.
Well, anything goes within reason, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think we've probably got enough all to go on with. But if in doubt, obviously, just offer it up to your template, see how you're going.
Yep.
And all is good.
So if you want to add some more bulk at the back, and without making the front of the nose too chunky, just get a little bit of white, and I'm just pulling it out so all the fibres are sort of sitting evenly. So I'm just going to fold it over once, and then I'm going to put it around the back of the head.
So then just the bit is the bit you're putting around the back of the head.
Yeah, so that's adding the bulk, and then just the little fine edges will blend away. So if you did spring lambs with us at the weekend, as I know several of you did, it's exactly the same technique as we used for that.
We've got bunnies and lambs everywhere.
Yep, we are very Eastery here.
Yes. Well,
I was going to make an Easter chick, but it's just run out of time. Next year, with little flowers on it, as you do. So, just add your bulk.
So obviously,
hey, Medina, welcome.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
All good. Better
Joe and Sonia.
It's
absolutely
always nice to see you all. And as I say, you can always catch up with the earlier bits, but we're I think quite a few of us of you will have seen this.
Yeah, you know how to make the little egg shape. Sometimes you sort of think, well, is there any point us making that? We'll just have them ready to go. But it's nice if you got this sort of an evening of relaxing. Yeah.
Well. It's just lovely to say hello to everyone and have them on board.
That's it. And just sit and make something. Just quite relaxed. So.
Do we need the stunt filter anytime soon?
No, I'm hoping not.
Shall I tell him to go and have a cup of tea?
No.
All right, okay.
So, nice try. So, all over. It adds bulk quite quickly, doesn't it, once
he's
it starts to hold.
Painting paint onto his hand so that it's seamless. He got the right shade of nail varnish tonight, but he didn't put paint on his hands.
Right, I'm just going to shape that in, and I think that will be enough. No laughing.
No laughing here, please.
This is needle felty crafting.
Yes, remain professional at all times.
You can try. Maybe one day you'll get there.
Okay, I'm good. I've got my badges.
So, finger along the top, because you can sort of lose it a bit whenever you wrap. So just sort of take a minute to reorientate it. And we're nearly there.
Okay.
Right. So tighten it up. And if it's very pockmarked, you can just put a little hazy layer of colour on once you've got the head solid, so you don't have to poke it in so deeply, do you?
So you just switch to your fine needle. Your if you're using the pack, the 40 that we put in is the green tip one, or if you're using your own needles, 40, 42, anything that you like. Spiral needle will stop you getting a lot in the way of pock marks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm a fan of a spiral needle for our new hair classes that we're planning at the minute. We'll probably use some spiral needles in those, like we did with the hairhead one last year. It makes such a difference, but it depends on the types of wool as well, doesn't it? Sometimes you don't need a spiral, and other times it's the only one that will give you the result. Indeed.
Only a spiral will do.
Now then.
I like calling them twisted needles.
Twisted spirals.
Twisted needles.
I haven't tried the new Eco one. That's the only one I haven't tried yet. From Sweet Pea Dolls. It's one of the Girls Bucket ones.
I thought that last time when we went to see them, they gave you some Eco
Is that
Stars.
what the green ones are? I have maybe. Oh, maybe I'm...
Yes, you have tried them.
Ah, okay. So, I have tried the Eco Stars, but I had forgotten. Right. Come on, little head. Now, I would like to get some ears and eyeballs and things on the go. So, This is where I do need like a Blue Peter one, isn't it? It's
one
half
that,
done.
you made earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
It doesn't
that's
really
quite
give
nice
us much
to
to
see.
talk about, does it?
No, I mean you're not. It's not like you're gonna make all 4
No.
tonight. So.
And the people are making them along with us tonight.
In real time.
Yeah.
Besides, then the stump filter really would have nothing to do.
So, now then, around the back, just get it nice and curved. So if you've got any questions, please just holler. Next, try and keep an eye on the chit chat bar.
Yeah, please just on your comments list any questions. If there's anything we need to look up or we can tell you about straight away, then we will for sure. And
to get some ideas for another book along. I think we need something with some retro vibe that we can all reminisce, like when we did the Fab Lollies and things like that. That was fun. I can't imagine what. Biscuits. Maybe biscuits could be good. There's loads of funky biscuits that we could have got making. Although something like a custard cream, you'd be there for a long time.
Yeah, getting the detail in actually would be quite something.
Hi, Nikki. Welcome. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's lovely to see people coming on board. It's all good.
So we've just been making a little head, and as you can tell by my fingers, well, I've had a bit of a run-in with the white acrylic paint and the glitter.
The paint won. Alison came second. There you go.
Yeah, if there's a way to get messy, I will do it. And we'll be the same when we're at Coleman's on Saturday, painting the green bases for the spring lamb.
Is it? Mm-hmm. My goodness.
So, yeah, I'm going to be doing it. And hopefully we'll get them to fit in a dome. We shall see.
Well, you just lop a leg off or a head or something. Yeah, they'll fit.
Nice. Mightn't look quite as cute.
They might look a bit strange, but they'll fit.
Right. Well, we'll take your tips on board and then just probably ignore them. But you won't be there, so it'll be fine. Don't want to hurt your feelings or anything, do we?
Oh, we've got someone in from Marcella's from Chile. Is
Why?
It's always nice to have lots of people from all over join us, so it's great to see you.
Fantastic. Welcome. And Lisa, I know your little lamb is just the most adorable thing. There's so many really little cute ones.
So beautiful, weren't they? And they all had all sorts of stuff going on. Just wonderful little makes.
Yeah. Some got like seriously accessory loaded up with lots of like little butterflies and mushrooms on their bases, as well as all sorts of flowers and pins and stuff.
Beautiful, lovely makes. Come on,
right.
I want something to happen though.
Okay, well, you just need to make sure you've got a nice, smooth, solid head.
And smooth. That's the main thing at this point in time.
Yeah. So if it is a bit lumpy, bumpy, just look and see the areas that are sitting up higher and poke those down, so as then everything comes nice and smooth, because it'll look sort of a bit messy because it'll be casting a shadow. So you just get everything down to the same height and we're good. Now then, he needs some ears, or she needs some ears.
Excellent.
So in your little pack, so we've got some sheet felt. I'm going to get one of my bows out now, just while I'm at it. Yeah. So on your template sheet, there are some ear pieces.
For those of you that aren't doing it from a pack, the template sheets are available on the Facebook page as well. Yeah.
So these seem quite long, but we're going to split the bottom of the ear once it's actually covered in wool, so as we can get it attached easily to your bunny. So you could just do these by eye, or you could chop it up. Right.
Yes.
So try and do this without whacking the top of the camera again. Okay, so going to go round. So we're going to cover these in a thin layer of white wool. So we're just going to get a little sort of pinky haze coming through. And they look quite soft and nice. So you can have a little look at the size. So, they look big there, but this bottom part, we're going to chop it so as we can actually
attach
get it to
the head.
Yeah,
I mean, you
quite
do
seamlessly.
need a good amount to attach to the head. Otherwise, your little appendage, ear, whatever, wing, whatever it is, tends to, sort of not join on. So you want plenty to attach it with. And the other thing is when you cup the ear, it also makes it narrower. So
it does.
It might look like a big sort of paddle of an ear at the moment, but it will come through.
So I'm going to do mine with pen just so as it shows up. I would not recommend you to do it in pen. Do it in pencil.
Just cut round.
Just cut round them. Actually, I don't think I am going to be doing this with pen because it doesn't want to write.
Well, somebody leaves the lids off.
I knew that was coming. I'm just going to do it by hand. No, I'm not. I'm going to draw it. Okay, decisions. You've just given me like the world's...
Right, the stunt felter has walked off in a huff. He mumbling about giving up a part in James Bond. Stunt felting for James Bond to do this. Exactly, that's what I said. I think he's gone off at the deep end.
I think he has actually lost it this time. No, I'm talking about you.
Oh, yeah, well,
you've lost it.
You know that.
So I've got my earpiece, as you can see, and you can.
Very poor.
I'm just having a real problem with the pen; it just will not work. Okay, so just pretend I had actually managed to draw the line. I'm just going to cut them out. So, okay, take 2. Just cut round. So this is a 30% wool mix felt, the one we use in all our kits. So its purpose is to give structure to the little ear, but without adding too much bulk. Okay, so we've got one ear, and I'm going to cut another one. Doesn't have to be perfect.
30% wool, because pure acrylic or pure synthetic will be very stretchy.
It's horrible.
And shiny and a bit lacking in backbone. And at the other end of the spectrum, pure wool tends to be a little bit thick and solid and reluctant to accept fibres sometimes, doesn't it? So,
yep.
So that's an ideal mix.
So there we go. By hook or by crook, we have ears.
Excellent.
So now, that one's a bit chunky, so just match them up. And away we go. I mean, you can always lob a bit more off.
Yeah, it's worth taking a moment to compare them to each other before you start work, just to make sure that you've got two the same, albeit when you do compare them, put them on your little work surface. It's good to actually consider them as a mirror image of each other, because you do need a left and a right one.
Yeah. So, the ears then. All we're going to do, I'm going to do one at a time. So I'm going to lay it slightly on its side because I just find it easier to cover it. And I'm going to cover it in a thin layer of white and let it hang over around the edges. So as if you've done like ears and wings and stuff with us before, it's exactly that. It's exactly the same process. So rather than just plonking wool on the top, you don't really have any control. So I'm just going to hold my finger on the wool fibres and gently tease them out. And that way I can just get a nice smooth, even spread, see where it's going. So just as you can see the earpiece through the wool and no more.
So this is a very hazy, gentle covering, isn't it?
Yeah. And you can always add more. And if you did get a really chunky ear, well, you could press it afterwards as well to shrink it down a little bit.
What are you doing now?
But I'm going to turn it over. And the excess, I'm just going to fold over like so and tap it into the ear.
Excellent, yeah.
So I'm just using a single fine needle at the minute. With your fingernails very much in the down position, you can just tap in towards the middle. So all your actions are helping to sort of pull the fibre around the ear. So I'm going to come around the long edges, but I'm going to leave the very bottom, the narrow tip, just loose. So just fold it in, following around that little shape of the ear.
You're tapping very lightly, aren't you, there?
Yeah, I am going through, but I'm not too heavily. And if you're using a brush mat like I am, I would have it covered over at this stage so as you don't catch all your fibres on it, because they're so fine and fly away. So if you've got too much fibre, you can just hold it down and pull it away a little bit. So we don't want it to look like he's got two sort of pink decking planks stuck to the side of his head. It's not that good a look, really. I do want to give it a little bit of body. So,
well, you're using a fine needle there, yeah?
Yeah, you don't want it. Yeah, I think you'd start to break down the ear a little bit too much. So we have encased the ear. So we've wrapped it up like the world's most disappointing Christmas present. So the ear is encased. And the other nice thing about the sheet felt for things like this is you can sort of feel where it is, so it helps you keep your size quite accurate. So just neaten it up a little bit. And then what we're going to do is basically felt it backwards and forwards on each side until the fibres and the sheet felt have combined. So that's going to help you with colour, and it's going to allow you to get a nice smooth finished surface. So before I break out my brush mat, and you could do this on foam or a wool mat, but it's just quite nice when you're trying to blend two colours together. The surface of the brush mat sort of lends itself to colour blending and mixing really quite nicely, because you can push the fibres down into it and they're not getting caught on bits of wool or foam.
So we're just knocking back that pink, making it much finer and just a sort of a powdery pinky white rather than an out and out pink, aren't we?
Yeah. So I'm going to go all over. Okay. And then gently just prise it up, because you don't want to stretch it. And I don't know if you can see there, it's gone all hairy on the side I've just pulled up from the mat. So I'm going to put that hairy side up now, and I'm going to poke it all through again. So all over, like so. And I'm going to repeat that probably 3 or 4 times is enough. And then we can go round the edge to neaten it. Okay, because really when you're poking straight down, you're not going to be addressing the edges, but you can neaten them really quickly. So you're still going to feel one side going to be a bit fuzzy because of the nature of pushing the needles right through, but we can just get rid of that by gently tapping the surface when we're finished, not going right through with your needles. So what I can feel now is that, when I rub it between my fingers and thumbs now, the fibres aren't all moving around. So they felted together and mixed in with the sheet felt. But it's looking a little bit ragtagged all around the edge. It's not looking very neat at all, is it?
And fluffy and all sorts, isn't it?
Yeah. So what we want to do is work around the edges. Again, we're just going to leave that very bottom bit loose. So you can just gently with your finger just wipe over the edges and tap them in along the sides. And this is definitely your fine needle job. So you're 40, which is the green tipped one, isn't it? And I'm going to just start tapping those in. And the other thing I'm doing is looking to see, right, where's the line of my ear? What's sticking out? And that's what I'm going to poke in just to bring the line all level.
Yeah, because if you've got a lump and you just go right round the whole ear, you're probably still going to have that lump at the end.
You will.
Just a smaller ear.
Yeah. So just target it round. And you can feel as you're poking in at the edges when your needle hits the sheet felt, and then you can just sort of stop.
So just lightly poking in a millimetre or two, a nick or two on your needle, rather than going right in deep and right through the other side.
Yeah. Oops. So it really neatens it. We can give it a little trim as well, but you do want to get those nice little edges tucked in, felted in, and then we're going to do exactly the same to the other ear.
It starts to smarten up really nicely when you do that, doesn't it?
It does. Now, you could trim the whole surface off it, but we haven't shaped the ear yet, so I'm not going to do that because I could take a bit more of the excess fuzz away, but I'm just going to be poking it through again in a sec, so I pretty much end up with a bald ear. So just hold fire until we've shaped the ears, until you sort of contemplate trimming. So just looking for anything that's sticking out, poke it in. So you're getting a much finer edge. Okay, like so. And then we're going to do the other one. So, now I'm not going to bother shaping the ear until I've made both, because it's easier to match them up if you take them.
To see what size they actually are once you start sort of giving them contours.
Yeah. If you find your ears suddenly looks a lot larger than it started off, you've probably just, when you folded the fibres over, not come up flush with your template. So you can just pop it back on and you'll very quickly see then if there's anywhere you need to take a little bit off. And if you do that, you can just put a tiny wisp of fibre back over it to hide the join or hide the cut. And poke it back in.
I mean, it might just be fractionally larger anyway, because you have wrapped it.
Yes.
In fibre, but there shouldn't be much difference.
No, so that ear's got a little
paper cut out
lump on it, so just get rid of that. I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. Sigh. Oh, Kim, did you finally get out of the chippy? we had chippy for tea, and I saw Kim down there, and I think you were there about 35 minutes when I left, which I felt really guilty about because I didn't arrive till well afterwards. I didn't know what was going on. So, I'm going to cover this one in exactly the same way. So the fibres, I'm just following them up the length. I didn't mention that actually, because when you put fibres on, you want to think about the direction. It's just good habits really to get into. So then you don't get any sort of stray bits of fibre that pull your eye. Not so sort of vital on something this sort of size, but if you're doing like, I don't know, like the colours on a robin's chest or a hare's ear or something, where you've got lots of colours blending, you do want to think about the direction that you apply the fibres. So I think if you just get in the habit of doing it for everything, oops, it becomes second nature. I keep hitting this. So it's like hovering above my workstation. Right. So we're going to wrap it. So bring it over the sides and just feel that you're not sort of adding any huge sort of ear extensions on the sides. That's what I like about like little bunnies and hares and things. You can sort of exaggerate different bits of them, can't you? You can sort of have like huge ears or
really stylise nicely. Whatever it is that you like about the creature, you can just make it the main event, can't you?
You could give them little carrots, couldn't you? It's like the bunny and carrots kit that we have. You could
dynamite.
make that. No. What planet are you on? So, if not a, I'm lost for words now. If not a carrot, you could use one of the little strawberries or something like that we did in the one of the previous poke-alongs.
Absolutely.
I do like them, although I don't like my mouldy strawberry. It was meant to look like a highlight. We put some white on it and it sort of looked a bit mouldy. So, all right. So, it's all loose. And then I'm going to just give it a few pokes just to get it started. And then I'm going to take it off this matte cover. And I'm going to start poking it through with my pen tool. I've got fine needles in here.
So this is a little bit small to be using a multi-tool or anything on,
I think so. I mean, you could try it, but
you tend to miss with a few of the needles, but
yeah, either or really. But just go straight down and mix it backwards and forwards so it looks all fluffy and hairy and goes nice and fuzzy on the other side. And then we're going to go around the edges. And then we can shape them. So our little wooden ring should be drying off nicely. So we can stick it all together later. I don't think it takes that long to dry, especially if you do it in quite a thin coat.
It's quite dry. quite dry. I mean, the main thing is, even if you do 2 coats or whatever, so long as the last coat, the one that you attach the glitter to, is wet when you put the glitter on, it will just stick nicely. So
yeah,
it's all good.
So all over, mash it all together, and then we'll go around the edges with your single needle. I think if you go around with your pen tool on something this small, you tend to sort of just obliterate it. So all over. It just looks really soft when you're finished. So
yeah, it's a really delicate little powdery colour, isn't it?
yeah. So there we go. Yeah, because sometimes, depending on what you're doing, you want a colour that's going to match exactly, or other times you can use the colours of the sheet felt to help you get your desired
there's
colour.
no pink being added to that
No.
at all. It's just the fibres in the sheet felt melding with the white you put on.
It's just become a tint now, because if you add white to a colour, it's a tint. Black is a shade, and grey is a tone. So
it's all very technical.
Very exciting.
I hope you're making a video too.
I am making a video about that. I have to get over the colour theory one.
So that I can edit it.
Oh, it only took me like 6 hours to film like 5 minutes of video today. So not long, really.
It's like those wildlife programmes, isn't it? When they have to camp out in the snow for 5 years to get 30 seconds of footage.
Thankfully, I don't think it took that.
It snows.
No. Right.
Out in the garden, waiting for the elusive felting footage.
So, hope you haven't run away screaming from Nick's weird sort of, I don't even have the word, commentary. I was going to say jokes, but I don't know if we're going to like that word. I don't know. What do you think?
Just be careful. The stunt felter's in the kitchen. He's ready. He's practicing by doing some blindfolded felting at the moment.
That's probably not going to go well.
No.
So, back in the real world, ouch. So, preferably don't stick your needle in the palm of your hand as you're wiping the wool over the edge. It's not ideal. So, just tap them in, and then you're going to go around the edges. So, nice and fine. Because if you do this with a thicker needle, it's going to look like you sort of got chunks taken out of the side of the ear, and that's not great. So, let's have a little look. Now then, all the way round. Same as on the other side. So just wipe it over. The thing as well is you could just make a lovely fuzzy finished surface, couldn't you? By pushing the fibres through into the brush mat. So then when you peel it off, you could give it just a little bit of a trim, but you could keep the fuzziness.
A velveteen kind of fluffy surface, couldn't you?
Yeah, it's like those leaves, you know, the lamb's ear ones. They're like a sagey green, but by the time you get the white fluff over the top.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
I think it's lamb's ear is what it's called.
What they call them.
There's one on the.
I can't remember the scientific name, but
there's one down the road that Truffles likes to frequent when he'll walk far enough to actually get there.
It's got to be 100 yards.
That's a long way.
Stop for a meal along the way, really, doesn't he?
It is. I've never known a dog to not like walking as much as Traffs. He'll actually run. If I say to him it's time for a walk, he'll run for the patio, thinking that, well, if I go for a wee in the garden, do I not have to go for a walk?
He's trying to negotiate his way through life, isn't he?
So, 2 little ears. So how are we doing? What time is it, Nick?
Time you got to watch, actually.
Well, I do have one, but it bashes when I'm doing... Yeah.
Oh, we're 20 past 8, 22 minutes past 8.
Oh, better get move on. We're doing good. Right. So, ears. Now then. Oh, no.
Lisa. With dogs. They do like to run off with your felties.
We've jinxed it. Luckily, Truss has given up now. He's just like, well, really? Nah. So, to cup the ear, you can... Actually, let's just have a quick look at those two. So, I'm going to put them with the straight edge down the middle. Just put
So
this
next
back
to
in
each
place.
other, yeah?
Yeah.
Just so that you can tell that they are the same.
Yeah. So we've got the two. So I've got the curve on the outer side. I generally have that so it sits at the bottom of the ear. So I'm just going to use my finger and thumb. So don't do it in the air. I'm just going to lift it to show you. So the curve of my thumb here will help with the curve of the ear. And then I'm just going to poke in this channel. When I put it back on the mat, I'm just going to slide the needle out just so as it sits on the top of the work. And I can do a sort of sewing action so as I'm not coming from right above my fingers every time I want to poke along that line, because otherwise I really am going to have sore fingers. So you can just hold that crease in there. And once you've done it a few times, it will start to hold.
So this is like joined up writing, isn't it? Just get a continuous line.
Yeah. So I need to poke it a few more times, but you can see it's starting to hold its shape there.
It does narrow down the ear, so it becomes much less of a kind of paddle shape and more of a little shell.
And you can sort of taper it round at the top. Just angle your needle in. Give it a little bit of shaping. Don't be scared to sort of manipulate it around a bit. So this is why we weren't bothering to trim it just yet, because we'll be poking the fibres through as we're doing this. So keep working along it, down to that end. That's where you've got the loose wispy bits of fibre.
Wow.
I'm just sort of poking it around the top of the ear, just again to shape it just that little bit and tapering in a way. You can actually see that bottom bit pulling in now. So my ear has got a little bit of shape. You could go round the back. You don't want to sort of join it at the bottom, but you just poke it from all roads and directions.
Very gently. We're not poking the needle right through, are you?
No. And if you had something, I'm just looking to see if I've got one. I think so. That's a 42 spiral. So that's like as fine as you can really get. So I know a lot of you have those. So that's not a bad needle either. If you've got some for using just for that little bit of shaping, because it's so fine on the back. But the 40s there's no problem with using the 40s. So I need a mirror image of this little ear. So I'm going to curve it round the other way and just do exactly the same to this one. Right, where did my needle go?
If in doubt, pop them next to each other on the table so that they reflect each other in terms of the contours, and you're all good, and you will have a left and a right then.
Yeah. So they'll need a little bit more shaping once they go on the head, but just give them a little bit of body. You could also enclose a little bit of the base around a bit of wire, or enclose a bit of wire rather into the base of the ear to attach it on. But on something this small,
not really
it
necessary.
looks a little bit, it does look a little bit stuck on, because we haven't really got any other shaping going on the face.
If you're making a little mouse, and you want it, very delicate, and you just want to be sure you've got a good attachment, then for sure you can
we did that on Pumpkin Mouse, didn't we? Because he doesn't have any wool on his ears, he's just got sheep felt.
Absolutely.
Which I'll show you in a minute. So have a little check of your ear. As I say, it's quite nice just to sort of shape it round at the sides. And go from there. So, where's the other one gone? Now then, I just have this ability to not move from the table and lose things. Right. The special skill. So, right. Okay. So, now I am going to give it a little trim now before I put it on the head, because it's a little bit more awkward to do it once it's on there. So we can just give it a final little neaten, and then we're just going to trim the nap. Actually use these smaller scissors. So just trim the edges. Don't want to re-expose the felt, but you're just taking
taking the tiniest amounts off, aren't you? I mean, you can hardly see what's been removed, but it does really tidy up everything.
It does.
Crisp it up.
Really works nicely. Especially if your scissors aren't knackered.
Yeah, just go, yes, well, just go easy is the main thing now. Otherwise you'll end up cutting your fabric and kind of back to square one a bit, aren't you?
Yeah, so look, you can just see there. Just worth spending a minute or two just to get that off. Don't worry again about the bottom, because that's what we're going to use to attach it to the head. And we can always thin it out a little bit. So I've got a much smoother ear now. So I'm just going to do the same to the other one. And then we're going to attach it. Right then. So. Now then. So we'll put the ear on. We'll put his face on, which won't take very long. And then we'll make his little feet and tail. So. There we go. Right. If you've got any lumpy bumpy bits, you can just get rid.
Lovely.
Okay. Yours. Right then. Where's his head gone? It's always useful. One head, 2 ears. So I'm going to put the ears, as per the template, just at the back of the head. So where's one of my little finished bunnies? So it's just going to sit really nicely and sort of follow that shape from the head. Okay. So those ones the same. So to do that, all we're going to do is get your ears. And if you've got lots of tail bits, you can get rid of some of it. Just tease it away.
You've been rumbled, Truffs. You're busted. They can hear you snoring.
Oh, he was giving it serious welly when I was doing the videos this afternoon. I have to edit it out. So I'm just going to cut up where that pink sheet felt is to make a little right angle so as I can slot the ear over the side of the head.
He's actually directing the video.
So I'm going to get rid of some of that. So just, you do want it to come up into the actual pink sheet felt when you do your cut, which is why we had that extra length on it. So then I'm going to put it on the head that's rolled away. Here we go. So just reorientate yourself. So I've got my finger across the top. You can just check that the head's the sort of right way around. Oh, my brother's there. Hello, Richard. We're either in, San Francisco or Hawaii. One or t'other. So at the moment, lucky for some. So I'm going to attach this just to hold it in place with my needle on the edges. Like so. Okay, and then I can poke these little bits into the head and they'll just sort of vanish. So I'm going to lightly poke this one on, because if you've got, if you're going to sort of be trying to hold it with 4 needles sticking out, it's just going to be a bit of a nightmare. So what you do want to avoid is having like a big gap between where the ear comes down and joins the head. So just make sure you've pulled that down. I'm just going to poke it in a few times to lightly hold it. And then I'm going to do the same to the other one. So it's just at the going down the back of the head, across the top, so as it sits really nicely. This one's going to have giant ears. So where did the other one go? There it is. So then this time, on this side, you can just double check the length with the other one. So poke the ends in. And if you do need to shorten it a bit, you can just poke the needle down through the shaft of the ear to pull it in a little bit more deeply. So I'm just going to attach that one on just lightly.
Got a gap between the ears where they join the head. You've got about 1 centimetre, maybe just under.
Yeah,
gap.
It should just be coming sort of out flush with the side of the face.
Yeah, they look a bit weird if they kind of are set in the middle of the head at the top.
Yeah. So now I'm going to poke those little end bits down and into my head so as I can't see them anymore. And I can put a little bit of white over it if need be. So poke it down right in so it all gets swallowed up. And you get a nice firm attachment on your ear. Now, the other thing you can do, I'll probably not use the pen tool for this one, but if you need to pull the ear in a little bit more, so say one is longer than the other, if you poke your needle into the shaft of the ear like so, don't do it in midair, I'm just holding that up so you can see it. So I'm going to poke that needle, preferably not this one because it's bent, and pull it down into the head. And that will help me.
You bent all your needles.
Yeah, I've got quite a few bent ones. Those bunnies did for them at the weekend. So.
What, the bunnies that went bah?
So, just poke it all in. Check they're more or less the same length. And then we're going to cover it over. So, now then, I'm just going to get a little wispy bit of white. And I'm going to tear it up and crisscross it. Because that way, I'm going to get a little bit more density to my covering without adding like big bulgy bits to his head. So I'm just going to put it over where I've got the little bits of pink showing and poke it in. And it will cover over.
You're lightly tapping that in to start with, just so that you keep that haze.
Yeah, you could sort of leave it slightly fuzzy, couldn't you?
Could do, yeah, if you like.
So, just a little wispy haze right the ears.
And it just kind
we're
of
good to go.
Sets the ears a bit more firmly into the head as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Poking that loose fibre through those little tabs will attach everything nicely.
Okay. Right then, and the same to the other one. And you can just chop any extra bits away. So it just beds it in. So we've got really securely attached ears. A little bit more. And when you put the glitter on it as well, it whitens it even more, doesn't it? Because it's so fine. It just sits in the fibres. Or you can hairspray. The lovely Natasha O'Martin was showing us the other day. You can use hairspray to make your glitter stick to your work. Excuse me. A dry throat. So, poke it in all round. And we have a head with ears. So, you can position them. Just hold it with your finger. Tap it in to flatten it if you want them to come back slightly at more of an angle. Or you can have them sitting straight up. You don't want to overwork the base of them too much because they're delicate little things, aren't they, at the end of the day? So, there we go. Now. Oh, thank you very much. I've just been given a glass of water. One sec. Thank you. So, there we go. All right. So you can give a bit of a defuzz, just check them over. Like so. Now then. Eyes. So you can, that's what I'm finishing off this surface, you can felt the eyes or you can put glass ones in. And I'm normally always use glass eyes, but I thought maybe just on something this small might be quite nice just to try a felted eye. So you can do both or either. So what I found was when I made the just the wool eye, you know, it's quite hard to get it to go into a nice circle shape. So when I actually put the black on, I followed it up with the Bradle to really sort of drive it home. So I'm just going to make a little eye on one side for this, and then I'll put the other one in with a glass eye. So for a little felt eye like these guys have, and it's slightly recessed, so I've got a little bit of black. I'm just going to roll it into a tiny ball between my finger and thumb. I'm going to get it on the end of my needle. So the eyes go on the side of the head, and you can sort of see on the template, they come down from sort of just below where we applied the ear. And you don't want them to really go on the top of the head. You want them to go on the side. So, and the other thing you have to be a bit careful of when you're using the black is that you don't want to come out to the other side. So I'm going to start poking that little ball in at the middle to start to pull it in. And I'm going to use my pink needle just so as it will pull the fibres a little bit more firmly. And as you poke that down in, it you can see the circle straight away is becoming a lot smaller.
So quite evenly so as well. It's a nice little dot, isn't it?
So then just to sort of give it a little bit more oomph, I'm going to get my bradawl and just push it in. And it sinks the little eye in, and it looks really quite cute.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
you do get just a little indent, don't you, there?
Yeah.
If your eye sort of becomes too small,
just roll up another little bit of wool and poke it in. Yeah.
Yeah, same again.
So on the other side, we'll go for a glass one. Right.
Ooh.
So, we didn't do the positioning, did we? To do the two needles so you can see if they're even.
They're even with each other.
It does help, doesn't it? So I'm going to make a hole. So these are little teeny weeny glass eyes in the pack, but they tend to have quite long posts on them. So I'm going to chop it down a little bit with a pair of old scissors because I don't want it coming out the side of his head. Still want to leave a good centimetre on it, like so. So as I've actually got something to dip in the glue. So a bit like when we followed the little black eye up with the bradawl to make it sink in. When you're sticking a glass eye in, by using the super glue gel, it will grip to the fibres deep inside the head and help to recess your eye. So I'm just going to check it, see if I'm like it, redo the hole. Oh, I've got lots of more people joining us. Fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, Gorilla Gel Super Glue. So, for my eyes, I'm just going to hold my eyeball between my nails and then I can just get the post and dip it in and straight out so I don't get myself covered. Make sure you've redone the hole in the head. Push it in and then really press it down. And that gives you a lovely little bit of shaping. So let's just get that squished in. So there, look, can you just see it gives them a little bit of shaping, sort of gives an idea.
Good, they both work really nicely. So
Daisy, and that one, he's just been done with the bradawl. So, decisions, whoops, and then binds them. Decisions. So, I am going to give him a little rosy cheek under his eyeball. So I'm just going to get a tiny little wispy bit of pink, fold it round on itself to make a little disc. And then what I normally find is it's about 3 times too big. So when you offer it up, you think like, uh-oh. So every time, so just pull that in half and there'd be more than enough. Oops, everything's going everywhere. Right then. So what you can do is just quickly with your needle, tease your fibres round into a bit of a circle, just fold them in so they're not quite so hairy and going all over the place. Give it a tiny little tap, pull it off. Oops, doesn't want to leave. And I'm going to pop it on the face, just under the eye, and tap it in. And again, don't go right through. So I'm going to tap from the middle first of all, so as I'm not setting my outer edges, because if I set the outer edges, as the fibres shrink into the head, they're just going to start to pull and distort. So then once you've started to get it to attach, then you can come back and go round the edges.
You get quite a naturally rounded shape when you just poke into the middle, don't you?
Yeah, it pulls it in nicely. So just tap it over, bring it down nice and flush. And again, like we said when we were making the head, if it looks a bit sort of messy, if it's sort of undulating, if you've got like areas that are higher than others, you're just going to be creating shadow. So it's not that you've done anything wrong. You just need to felt it down a little bit more and evenly to get a nice smooth finish.
And what if it's too pink?
You can just knock it back if you don't want such a pink little cheek. Put a little haze of white over the top just to soften it.
So you'd be doing the equivalent of what we did with the ear, in fact, wouldn't you? You'd be just like softening that pink back. But
give it a little bit of a trim. Just watch you don't chop an ear off by accident. Okay. Awesome. And one on the other side. So, a little bit of pink. I've lost. Oh, there it is. I thought I'd lost my little bit. They're so tiny. If you sort of breathe, they vanish. So, a little bit of fluff. Fill it in. And tap it on. Okay. Whoops. I think I just distorted the shape of that a bit, but it'll come back. So, just under the eye. Tap it in from the middle. Those little glass eyes are rather cute, actually.
Yeah, it works both ways, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Certainly, if you making from your stash, you haven't got any glass eyes to hand for whatever reason, then just that little bit of black felt works.
I do like it with the just following it up with that bradle hole, because it tends to make it look a little bit sharper.
Yeah, it does give you a nice recess as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. And sometimes with a circle like that, you seem to like be forever going round the edges trying to get it sharp, because it's all right if you've got like a pink cheek that blurs away, but you don't want sort of blurry edges on an eyeball. You want them nice and sharp. So there we go. So little pink cheek. His face is nearly done. Right then, okay, we're on the home straight. So I've got my little face pretty much complete. He just needs a little bit of a nose, and you can do that either with wool or you can dot it on with a pen. So all I'm going to do is make a little Y shape at the front, like so. So just at the base, so like so. So you can sort of orientate it, put your finger across the top. So you don't want the Y coming right the way up over into the top of his head. So I'm just going to put a couple of little black dots. Be very careful not to draw on it, just to dot it. So I could join that up and just leave it, or I can use it as a guide. You can maybe do it in pencil or something.
Yeah, you can go over it in fibre, can't you, if you want?
Yeah.
Or you can just go over it again in pen, and you've probably got sufficient.
Yeah.
But the main thing is not to move that pen around too aggressively, otherwise you end up with all the ink going all over the place.
Yeah. So if you want to follow it up with a little bit of wool, and you just need a so little, look, just in like wisp of black, and I'm just going to roll it between my fingers and thumb to make a little thread. So I'm going to go for my pink needle, which is my thicker one, and I'm just going to start poking it in along the edge of my line. So might go down to the green one actually. So just tap it in.
Needle,
yeah, and just poke it along the line. You see it sort of swallows up the colour.
Yeah, and you can get a really quite a fine line, can't you, that way?
Yeah.
And you just got that framework, little pointers showing you where to go of the pen mark that you've made.
Okay. The more you run your needle down it, the finer it becomes. So if it goes sort of off to one side, if it's going to the right, poke it from the opposite side to start to just refine it. You could even make like a little circle at the bottom that looks like it's sort of got a bit of a little shocked expression on its face or something. So, or a little shocked like it's singing.
Like, where's my body?
Yes. It's going to get
a serviette going right through my middle.
So little, there we go. Didn't take much, did it? Just nice and delicate.
Lovely.
So give it a little check for shape. And we're nearly there, actually. He just needs his tail and his feet, which are just little balls. So as he balances. So, give him a little shape round. There we go. Okay. One little bunny head. So, now then. He needs to get stuck on. I always find I've got like a side of mine that I prefer, so you sort of see what way around you like them. But what we're going to do, and the only reason I'm getting this ring out now, is that we can start to see, can't even say it, start to see where the feet are going to go, and just to give you an idea of size. So we want the two little balls at the front for his feet and a bigger one at the back for his tail. So, and if you didn't, you can buy like 1 centimetre and 2 and 3 centimetre balls.
If you've got loads of these to make, you can kind of cheat your way along, but they're quick enough to make, aren't they?
They are. So I'm just going to make 2 little balls for the front that are going to sit across the width of the, what's that called? The napkin ring. Couldn't even think of the word. So, just like we did with the head, but we don't have to worry about shaping it other than just into a ball. So fold it down on itself, poke along, and if it ends up being too big, you can make it into a tail. So round you go, and then fold it up along. And I'm pushing my thumb right in underneath. We did a little video, a speedy video about making various felt balls, didn't we, the other day? It's very basic, but it's just there. I did get a bit carried away. I had like tons of them.
20 different colour little felt balls made, but there you go.
Well, I'm going to make them into baubles. I've had a brainwave from making like iridescent baubles from felt balls. I knew you'd be excited.
Glitter, perhaps?
Of course.
Oh dear.
So poke it in all round, right through so you don't get a hollow middle. And his little feet or tail will hold its shape. So all round. And once it starts to hold, give it a bit of a roll. I'm going to move my hands for a second because I just know I'm going to whack the camera. Right. There we go. So really nice and rounded. Follow it up with a little bit more felting. And then you can start to see, because until you've done one, it's a bit hard to tell how much wool you need, isn't it? If it's going to be his foot or his tail. All right. You could use a reverse needle on the tail to make it really fluffy, couldn't you? That'd be quite sweet.
Yeah, of course you could. I mean, you could, just go to town on a little fluffster. You can keep them nice and smooth. I quite like them for the Easter kind of theme. I quite like them smooth and sort of white, powdery and pink and all that sort of stuff.
So let's see. So he's got one little foot there.
So is that going to be a foot or a tail?
I think he's going to have quite a big foot.
Okay.
So I'm just going to make another one. But you could just add a bit more wool to it. And if you get like a crease, you know what it's like when you fold things round sometimes, you can just add a haze over the top, like we did when we put the ears on to cover their ear construction.
To sort of smooth everything out.
Yeah. So, another one. So, it's really quick and speedy. Fold it round on itself. Give it a little poke just to stop it from all coming undone and driving you a bit nuts. And fold it round. Poke through. Really quick and easy. Okay, and then we're going to do a bigger one for his tail. So, there you go. You have to watch your fingers a bit. They're not very big, are they? So right through, right round, all over. And just keep thinking circle. Whatever is not circular, poke it. Get it out of the way. Tuck it in. All right. So, give it a roll. I've only given them 2 feet because there wasn't really room for like a tail and lots of feet, but
I think it does the trick. You don't really need it. All gets visually, it all gets a bit much if you put 4 feet and the tail on and the napkin ring in the middle with the napkin in it. It all just gets a bit fussy, doesn't it?
So, all through. So, hi folks, I see another few faces have joined us. Welcome, welcome. Now, let's have a look and see what we've got. So, hopefully I will have 2 feet. Quite big feet. That one's quite big. I might just keep that as his tail and then make another one a bit smaller for his other foot.
Yeah, you want a slightly bigger tail, don't you, than the feet?
I'm going to wrap that a bit bigger then. So if one of them's a bit too big, just run with it and make it bigger again.
Bigger still, yeah.
For his tail.
Look at the tail.
Because obviously I did that on purpose.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, you know, no disasters. It was a foot. No, it's a tail. Right. So the tail could be left a little fluffier as long as the section that you're going to stick to the reel is solid, because otherwise, you know what it's like, you just get the fluffy edge attached and it comes adrift. And we don't want stray bunny tails ending up at your Easter Sunday dinner. Tend to stick in your teeth a bit. All right.
So you've got 1 tail, 1 foot.
Indeed. I have got a lopsided bunny on my hands. Okay. So, just a little bit. Fold it round on itself. Poke along. Roll it round. And poke through.
Oh, the beast has awoken.
Uh-oh.
It's treat time.
You can set your clock by him. 9 o'clock every night, this little like face comes and sort of stares at you and does a bit of fiffing. He wants his mozzarella, as you do. So
don't try this at home.
right through, so you don't get it hollow, because you do want it to have a bit of firmness to help balance your little
otherwise it's going to get
bunny
distorted on the table or whatever.
Yeah. So in a second I'm going to stick it all together using super glue gel, but you could do something like a bus stick probably and just leave it to dry for a little while, because at least the bus stick gets a bit of a grip. Unlike some of the glues, you sort of got to sit there for ever and a day. Right. Feet. Give him a roll. Feet of equal size and a little fluffy bobtail. Now then, I've got all my eyeballs. Get rid of those. So, I'm going to just move this out of the way so that we could sort of see what's happening. So, and see about where you're going to stick the head. So, I've gone sort of, what's that, about 10 o'clock-ish on that, would you say? You're always using those analogies.
Yes, I'd say you were about 11 o'clock, but there you go.
Yeah, about 11 o'clock. So, you can put them any which way, but it just sort of seems to work in terms of the body shape around about there. So, I'm going to put a dab of super glue gel straight on the back of the head and push it and hold it for a moment. I'm going to angle it round slightly. He's looking at me.
Truffles is revolting. He's going to start barking in a minute. It says in my contract, I get my treat at 9 o'clock.
So, hold it for a moment or two.
3 minutes to wait.
Right. So, one little head. And then we just want to make sure the feet, when you put them on, like so, it's a bit hard to show, but have them flush with the table so they'll stand up. And you can sort of see where you're going to put them. Does that make sense? See it all right?
Yeah, so if you put them on your tabletop or whatever, you want to just have them pretty much wedged in so they stop.
Yeah, so he's going to sit.
Yeah, so they're wedged in.
So, same thing again. Oh, not on my nice new mat. Little blob of super glue gel. So, stand him where you think he's going to be, and then you can just hold your first foot on and put the other one on. Okay, and another one. 2 is good. Right. Or if you do get a little bit of a glue ooze or something, you can just throw a bit of glitter. Oh, Katie, sorry, I know you hate glitter, don't you?
Just
no
have to be a bit
glitter.
more precise with your glue.
Yeah. So wipe that away. And it's not a great idea wiping super glue gel away with your finger, but seem to get away with it. Right then. Oops. Just pull this foot off. Give that another moment. There we go. Tall little feet. Excuse you, Truffles Cremona. Sorry, folks. An attitude-laden small dog. So, tail on the other side. So just hold it on your work surface. I'm going to try and put my work surface sideways so you can see. Oh, this is going to come very unstuck, isn't it? So just line him up and then you can get him to sit so you can see where it needs to be so everything will sit nice and balanced. So get another blob of glue on the back of your tail. Okay, so, and hold it on like so. All right. Just give it a moment or two. The good thing about this glue is that once it does dry, it's really secure. So it can withstand being sort of handled, can't it? And used on several occasions. So, he needs his little bow. I was thinking of going right round his neck, but it just didn't really seem, because he doesn't really have a neck, it seemed to sit better just having the little bow on the side of the napkin ring, like so. So you could stick it to the bunny himself, but I'm just going to go on the side of the napkin ring. So then the ends sit down quite nicely. Excuse me. You can refine your bow a bit if it's got a bit squished. See which way around it sits better. It sits nicer that way around, actually. So, little bit of glue. I'm just going to put the knot of it. Thank you so much, Erica. I'm so glad you like it. Thank you, Joy. Fantastic. The bow just finishes them off, I think, doesn't it? It needs the little bow, yeah. Because it's quite simple in the way it's put together, but yeah, it just sort of hides it. And then I'm going to give him a little bit of a twinkle. Why not? So.
Oh, dear. Like we couldn't see that coming.
So, all over. Do it on paper so you can like save your glitter and pop it back in. Right. There we have it. One little bunny. Oh, I'm so glad you like them. Fantastic. Awesome. So, thank you, Sharon. Right then. So he can join the little family of ones, and we will put up some of the links for the pen tools and the other bits and bobs we bought. That we use that you can get if you feel the need. And where is that? Yeah, that prim thing. This is the one that we looked at earlier. It is good if you've got any sort of grip issues. It's quite comfortable to hold. So we shall put the link to that up when I find it.
Absolutely.
I'm sure I got it from Amazon. So, well, thank you very much for joining us all. We hope you enjoyed it. And we will have
Easter, guys.
Yeah, have a wonderful Easter. And we'll be back with some more poke-alongs in the not too distant future, hopefully.
And once you've made 3 or 4 of these bunnies, they'll multiply by themselves. So you don't need to worry too much. Just invite lots of people around for dinner.
Yeah. So stick up your pictures. Glad you liked the idea and have a bit of a laugh, bit of fun doing them all. Have a wonderful Easter, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bye.